And welcome back to Daily Justice. Our topic today is how an expert witness can help your family law case. My guest today is Mark Hodgson, family law attorney here in Spokane, Washington. And Mark, when and why would a family law case need an expert witness?
Well, an expert witness is a pretty broad category because it's someone that can be qualified as an expert through suitable training and experience and so forth. So you could have an expert witness. So, for instance, a PhD in psychology sounds good, right? So let's say you're accusing me of having a personality disorder. Well, I would go to the expert witness, I would go to the psychologist, they would go ahead and run a series of tests, and there'd be collateral information brought forth, and they could tell you whether or not I had narcissistic personality disorder or something along those lines, and that person could then testify to their report. But experts can be anything. I mean, like, for instance, your background in media, you possibly with your expertise, training, and career choices could have been, just with with KXLY and everything else, could be considered an expert on media. So an expert doesn't necessarily have to have a PhD behind their name. They're just an expert in their field, of what they're doing, an expert of studies and so forth. So the first thing you do is you certify them, and then, then whether or not they're an expert and how they apply to your case. But an expert can be, you could theoretically have an expert in gardening. You could theoretically have, but we use them mostly like to testify to children, like what's best for children, counselors and things like that. We use psychologists quite frequently, PhD level psychologists. We use accountants quite frequently. We use forensic accountants quite frequently. We use people who can value businesses quite frequently. And the best part is a person who values a business or even a house, they can give an opinion. Whereas like you and me, we're lay witnesses, and in many cases, I'm not really a witness, I'm an attorney, but like a lay witness is just going to, as to what they saw, what they experienced, what they witnessed, whereas an expert witness can actually offer up an opinion as to what they're testifying about.
And they have to be certified as an expert?
Well, they're certified in court. Okay. And so they'll go through a series of questions of what's your education? How long have you been doing this? So if someone were to say, Mark, I want you to be an expert in psychology. Well, I could try to be it, but they'd say, well, I've got I took a psychology class in high school and college, and I've been around them a lot. That's probably not going to cut it. Whereas, I've been, a psychologist for 29 years. I've testified 45 times. I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. And then they're able to just go, and then you can offer them up to certify them as an expert. The judge then decides whether or not they are.
Does that expert have more credibility, or does it weigh differently versus a layperson as a witness?
Yes and no. Yes, as to their field of study. I'm going back to, say, an accountant, who's valuing something like a business or telling you how the transactions took place. I think you and I both, if we're trying to get to the bottom of, like, say, the embezzlement of money, an expert accountant's going to go, well, it went here, it went here, it went here. This is it. This is the transaction. And this is why I think it was stolen. Whereas you and I go, well, there's these bank accounts, and it goes along the line, see? And, of course they're going to get more weight. They're going to have the vernacular. They're going to do it. The downside to expert witnesses is they generally cost money, and they can be very expensive. They can be incredibly useful, and they can win or lose a case for you.
And can these expert witnesses be challenged in court?
Absolutely. And the other thing the other side may do is get a witness of their own. And so the big joke in law school is, you call 1-800 dial an expert, and you can get experts in every field simply by picking up a 1-800 number. And then they'll find you an expert, and they can come in and, the good experts will say, look, you're going to hire me. You may not like what I have to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. And this is the only thing I'm going to say is what I believe. There's other experts that may be more mercenary and may sound just as good. So you need to know the difference, and you need to know how to challenge those people, because sometimes, I remember one time I believe there was an attorney here in town. She's a great civil attorney, and the expert was on the stand saying, well, this is what happened, this is what happened. And she said, well, your book, you have a completely different opinion. She found the page in the book where the expert had contradicted himself. And so, yes, they can be challenged, and they can be decimated on the stand by a good lawyer. Is it difficult for lay people, like someone like me, to go after a psychologist? It can be if I don't have someone advising me as to what to look for, what's wrong with this report. And so generally experts beget experts. So if someone's got an expert and you have a hotly contested issue, then you need the expertise that you don't have. You have to recognize what you don't know.
Mark, thanks very much. For more expert legal insight and help with your situation, you can visit HodsonLawOffices.com or call the number on your screen to schedule your free consultation. There's also a direct link below this video.